Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Ruth Marquis. Welcome to Ruth in the Bag. Yeah, 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 yeah. Welcome to Ruth in the Bag, where we get your mind and your money right. All right. We get your mind and your money right. All right. So I have been MIA for the last couple of weeks, but I'm back. And oh man, it's been better. So I'm happy about that. Welcome, welcome. If you're on here, say hi. If you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay. That doesn't mean you go, that means you stay. All right. So today we're going to talk about tightening up your finances. Okay. I'm not going to be before you long, so stick with me. So I'm at the shoe store, right? And I was talking to the daughter of the owners. And I've been like, I haven't realized, like, I've been like coming there for like a good 15 years, and I just realized the kid she's talking about, like, I seen her when she was pregnant, and she was just telling me, like, first they got the condo. Now the house that they're in Jersey is now worth over $500,000, and the house he wants to buy is like 600,000. I was like, I was like, oh yeah, you should move, get the money, why not, right? And then she was like, oh yeah, whatever, something happened, and she got some money in her pocket. So I was like, well, dang. She said she was close knit with her children were close knit with everybody in there, and I'm like, that's a good reason not to move. But I was like, I said, the only way, based off of everything she told me, the only way I would have moved in the situation is if I'm like moving to a mansion with a house and a pool and all of that good stuff. And then she showed me the house she was looking at. And I was like, man, that would be it. So it made sense to sell that house and get to the next house. And they have less than $100,000 that they owe on the house. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you can move into a house for a mini mansion. If it wasn't a mansion, it was a mini mansion. I didn't see how big it was, and have like $100,000 and the mortgage. I was like, man, this is getting good. But then it hit me that all of the opportunities that she had, it wasn't because the family gave her money or this and then the third. It was because she started with that first condo for $80,000. And so that is why, if you don't get in the real estate game, if you don't own anything, if you don't sit on anything, if you don't have things going for you, if you don't pay things down, da, da, da. So she basically rolled in her profits from the condo into the house that they had, which was very, very smart, right? And so at first it didn't make sense for her to, well, why would you sell what you have and then start paying this huge mortgage? But if you're just rolling it into the next property, it makes a lot of sense. And I'm like, the house that you want for 650 is going to be worth over $1 million when the market goes back up. So like in 10 years, I would say easily it'll be worth that. So that's another come up. And so, like I said, you have to start. So we're talking about tightening up your finances. So just an $80,000 investment. Like, she had to get in that house, that condo, for like $5,000. Like, it couldn't be more than that. Well, maybe they don't believe in sellers and says, but I do. For me, it would have been less than $5,000, maybe three. Okay, to get into there. So if you don't hone in on what you want to do with your finances, then you'll always be like trying to run up from behind, right? She's had opportunities. She is married. She does have a job where her family allows her to work in and things like that. But I'm telling you, those advantages, well, they're great in the grand scheme of things, but you still have to move a certain way. So when I look back over my week and I got off track, I realized that the best thing I did was just get back on track and figure out what have I learned, because if I'm in a different place than I was before, what have I learned, right? So number one is to be open to new opportunities. That's what I've learned. So I've talked about in the past, like how I had to focus on my time management. And if I manage my time differently, then I have time for new opportunities, right? So I opened up a new stream of income, which would be the rental income that I did, that I started. And, I've been getting people that want to rent, and I've been getting people that were thinking about renting and want to buy. So I've gotten buyers out of that. So one stream of income can lead to more buyers, which is still adding back to my main stream of income or sellers. Okay. Um, and people just think of you, and they dump every real estate problem on you, and you get to say, I can do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do that. Before it was like, no, I can't do this, no, 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 no. Now it's just like, oh, let me see the situation first. Okay, yeah, I can help with that, I can't help with this. So it's really good. So the results have been great. um Number two, but me budgeting on a spreadsheet is the only thing that has worked. I was trying to figure out how I was gonna go back and forth and making sure my budget is right. And I'm like, if I write it down, I'm gonna forget it. Like in my mind, I have those percentages in my head, and so I don't go past. Like I know what, like it doesn't matter what that bill is. I'm not going past that 50% mark. I'm not going past the 30% mark for XYZ. So the 50, 30, 20, I keep it in my head, and that helps me. Like, okay, now that I have that in my head, like if I know what the 50 is, I need to go break down the 30 and the 20. And that's what's going to entice me to budget, because it's like you know what you need. So why do you have to budget it? But no, there's so many other things that you're not thinking of that you got to go and do. So I'm not going to be hitting you over the head with budget, budget, budget. But what I am saying is you have to trick your mind into doing the things you don't want to do. But people that are good with money are budgeting every month. They're budgeting every check. Okay. And people like me do need to budget every single check. So because if the income is irregular, then it's not like a weekly this, a weekly that. Then yeah, it works. Um, Number three, I learned people will laugh at you, but you have to ignore them. If you went by what people said and did, then you would be going out to all these fancy restaurants and places you can't afford. I remember going to LA. This was very quick. And my daughter, she wanted to pick where the celebrities want to eat, but I'm like, ma'am, I spent everything getting here, child. Right? So we could get bread, like we can get some real small appetizers, but I mean, look good for the pictures. And we had the fake paparazzi. They was taking pictures of it. The fake paparazzi was there. It was a cool experience, but I remember thinking, no, this. I like the real experience. You know what I mean? So you can do all that for the gram. You can do anything, but in the reality, you just have to be willing to not be cool for a minute. I put a post up and said, I rather than be cool, I'd rather be cool with being me. So